What's going on, good people? It is the Badwolf, main werewolf himself, usually dressed in black, and we are about to be all that in a bag of chips. To quote the old expression, right? All right, so this particular video is about how to become a private citizen. Hopefully the glare doesn't blind you guys. I apologize in advance. Just clean myself up. All right, so people keep messaging me and asking about how to be private. Um, so apparently I have to make a video on that. I know we kind of talked about some things many times, I thought. Okay. So once again, thank you for coming to my platform. This is your first time here. Obviously, hit that bell, like, subscribe. And if you see anybody using any of my images or this video or anything like that in any kind of negative way, please use the button over there to report them for defamation of character, bullying, slander, and all the other good jazz. Thank you in advance. Why do I say that? I say that because there are some negative people out there who don't want you to know your rights. That's all we're talking about. This is all stuff that's in their books that we read, we bring to you. That's literally it. I'm not inventing this stuff. I'm finding it in their stuff, in the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution. And then I bring it to you guys. And then I read the state codes and I talk to various friends and family who are police officers and or judges and whatever else. And here's the information. Okay. So with that being said, let's get going. So how do you become a private person? Well, you already are. See, so many people have been born into this society where everything is public. Everybody's business is public. Everybody's transactions are public. All, almost all this stuff. Everything public, public, public. Give me your stuff. Give me your this. Well, you were born private. So if you were born in Florida, you were born privately there as a Floridian. Okay. New York, New Yorker, Wisconsin, Wisconsinite, California, Californian. In the Styles GPO manual that the government puts out, it says in designating the natives of the state, meaning you are native. So everybody here, if you're born here, you are a Native American. You are native to America. Now you may not be indigenous. You may not have indigenous family line and a normal or ancestral tribe lineage. But the moment your people came here and that next generation, well, they themselves were naturalized. Then the ones after them, at least especially when after they were born free, depending on how you want to play the law on that, were then true Native Americans. Native Americans were born here, so you are Native American. Now, when you're loyal to your state, you are what's known as a state citizen. So if you're from Florida and you just want to belong to the public, or excuse me, the private people in the area, also known as Floridians, then you're a state citizen. That term has been used to then and has been morphed into the term national of the United States. Well, national or nationalities, as in the GPO style manual, section 5.23, states that Floridian is the correct word for a person who is a native to that land. So the word state citizen, private sector citizen, national of the United States are all synonymous, meaning they mean the same thing. They're essentially the same thing. Okay. Outside of that is then what's known as the public or a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. So you were born a American, Native American, national state citizen. And when you decided to go to them for a privilege or a license, you then became a resident. How do we know? Because they asked you to get that piece of paper at one point in time when you wanted to get that bank account. You needed to prove residency. Why? Because they needed to see that you reside in their paper jurisdiction. A fictional world created with zip codes and all capitalized names on the state level that then brought you into their PMA. Well, what's a PMA? I'm glad you asked. It stands for a private members association. Now, how do we know it's a private members association? Because somebody from Canada can come down here, walk the streets all day long, be here for 8 months, a year, whatever else, and they're not a resident. Oh, please let me know if I'm wrong. They are not. Okay. Matter of fact, our country wants them out. You were here visiting, get out unless you're doing business. Then you can stay for a little while longer. All right. So they wanted to be a member of the United States of America, citizen, national, etc., then they have to go through the government, which means that the states can't naturalize because they gave that ability to they ceded their ability to have complete sovereignty to be a part of the union so that they couldn't just get attacked by, say, Russia. Now, Arkansas is just all Russian land and people, and I love my Russian friends. Um, so that means that the states do not have complete authority unless you are a member of theirs. But to become a member of theirs, you have to be naturalized to the government. The government then makes you under 8 U.S.C. 1101 22B, a U.S. citizen and also a national. That's what that code refers to. You can also look up other codes like 8 U.S.C. 1401 and learn some interesting things there as well. It's lots of codes. If you read the codes, you find out lots of good stuff. So once you become this, if you're born here, you're a national first, and then you get your U.S. citizenship. If you're born in D.C., you're a U.S. citizen, and then you gain your nationality as one of them. And you can also then be one of us because we're all one happy family as altogether called citizens of the United States. Okay. So if you're specifically just a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, you are typically looked at as a taxpayer, et cetera, et cetera. Though the social can be used for taxable and tax exempt things when done properly. So becoming private is understanding, first of all, that you already have a private side and you haven't used it. What you need to know is that your name in all lowercase lettering, which according to Black Law's dictionary is capitis minimus, okay, no loss of rights or status, and you're in your native nationalities, natural, private standing, because the real man stands on the land. Okay, status is of a dead thing or an object, that which can be owned or is owned. So, but that was also called your given name. Then they ask you to do something called give us your legal name. Well, the legal name on the state level is that all capitalized name per their books and the U.C.C. and their styles manual that say all this information, because that's what their legal teams do is they put together the ins and outs of their legal jurisdiction. And when you're using these things, they don't tell you what they mean or give you a definition, including their everyday words that we use because their jurisdiction has collided with the private. Such things like driver, all these things need to be have a definition, and wait, they do in their books. So because these are their things. Now, what they don't tell you is that all the things that they offer you, 99% of them you can do on your own in the private per the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights. It's all in there. Fascinating reading, by the way. But if you don't know that and you go to them, well, you've just committed, well, I'll say this, you have just became in petition to be a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, which means a member of their, what did I say earlier? Their PMA, a private members association. Got me? All right. Now you're cooking with gas. So once you have had this public side as a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, you then started obtaining licenses and other things that just further contracted you into their world. So your private side has always been there. You just never use it. So now you know there's a difference between your lowercase name, which is a given. Your upper and lower means you're mixing the two jurisdictions, which still, by lowest common denominator, makes you a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. So subject somewhat to their jurisdictional rules, regulations, and statutes, state codes, etc. Your all uppercase names mean you are all the way in like Flynn. All right. That fully means you are when utilizing that information, a legal person, which is separate and distinct from your living person. No different than when you go and register to get a business name. That's not you. They'll try to hold it to it being you. They might say you're personally responsible for it, even though you don't see any place on there where it says check off here to be personally responsible. They play these games because we don't know their rules, their ins and outs, and how to not waive our rights under the Constitution. See, because that's what it is. When you utilize their things, you're waiving your rights. Doesn't mean forever. It's not completely gone. It just means in the moment thereof, in the act thereof, when the use of their privileges and licenses and benefits and receiving the benefit, which could even mean and does in fact include taxes or a anything that they provide you with essentially is a benefit. Now, don't tell anybody, but those benefits typically come from the government. And the states make money on the back half by providing you with those free things, but do your own research. Um, so ain't nothing free in Nantucket, but that mother anyway, never mind. Um, so you've always had the private side. And now, in order to use a private side, you now must create private things because if you start talking to the people who I like to refer to as low level functionaries, the people who don't know law or they don't get to talk to the legal team, at your municipality or whatever else, they don't know this information. So to them, you sound crazy. And guess what their bosses tell them who know exactly what I'm talking about and know exactly that I'm telling the truth and that it's accurate? They will tell you guys, low level functionaries, that these people are crazy. Well, that's why I made this channel because I've shown you guys and I continue to show you in their books how they move and that the information is correct. Okay. I name my sources as far as this. People, I keep that private. So if you are on the inside, you do want to share something that's not considered to be a trademarked secret or a security risk thing, then feel free to send me the information, but make sure you can vet it before sending it to me because that's what I do afterwards. So otherwise, I'll just ignore the email and we'll just keep it moving. Now, because you can't just go, well, hey, here, this is my given name. I guess you could. They might still say, well, hey, James C. Lovett in all caps is the same as James C. Lovett in the lowercase. It's the same thing. You're the same person. No, you're not the same person. One is a living one with God protected rights and so protected by the Constitution. And the other one's a legal entity, which is a creation of the state, a non-living thing, a fiction. Booyah. See, I read the Black Laws Dictionary and the U.C.C. books, okay, and the Styles Manual. So I know there's a difference in those things. And now the people do. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to make it sound sinister. It's just you need to understand that since you were a child, you've been operating essentially a business trust or a what they refer to as a public transmitting utility, which means the same thing as a straw person, a legal entity, a business name, business trust, something that can carry on business that's non-living. Okay. And with you and your name, we'll just use mine, James C. Lovett, even though that's what my mother named me, because we are in fact Native Americans. And from what I've been told by Native American people, Native Americans don't have last names. They have tribes. So I should really be James Charles of the House of Lovett or the Lovett Nation, the tribe of Lovett, something of that nature. Now you're above 18, which is the age of the majority. Check out that video. And so you should be claiming that you are competent because at 18, you never declared that you were competent to handle your affairs. So by legal standing or standpoint, they have the right to assume that you are incompetent because you never informed them that you were competent to take care of your affairs and handle all of your affairs and effects, we'll just say, whether financial or whatever else, the things they like to keep hidden from us. And also because maybe we're not asking the proper people or agencies or departments the right questions. If they hide it from you at that point and you know it's there, then that's fraud. Then you can go after them for that. But I digress. So, in order for today, for us people, a lot of people, including myself, have or are still doing a lot of affidavits. Now, affidavits are not bad, they're just a stack of your truths that you have notarized that you swear are in fact truths or facts. Okay. And typically courts do not operate on truth and facts, especially on the lower state level. But anyway, um, so what you would need to do is to create something new and private. Now, this is how usually the wealthy move are in trust. We've all heard of trusts. Some of you may not have heard of a 508c1a or an FBO, which is a faith-based organization, which is tax exempt and private, or an unincorporated association. Yes, I said unincorporated. Unincorporated means non-federal, not state, tax exempt, private. You're doing your own thing. But there's also creating other types of structures, private trust, foreign trust, tax exempt entities, or whatever else. Do you have to register these things? No, because you're operating privately, and that is protected under your constitutional right, the right to privacy, the right to do business private. Okay. So if you're going to do private things or you want to learn to be a private person, then you're going to want to start looking into trusts and private structures, such as the ones I've mentioned, in order to have yourself completely private. And many of these, you will find that when done properly, you can be tax exempt at most jobs, most things out there from federal and state. Okay. Some are done differently. So please, by all means, contact a qualified individual for those things. Everything here is just education, entertainment purposes only, as all my materials are. So with that being said, if you were to create a private trust, like an irrevocable trust, and place your materials, vehicle, whatever in it, that then becomes a private thing. Okay. But understand, I'm giving you the short version of it. There's more to it than just that. You have to then change some things, close out some things, and whatever else. But in general, anything you place into a trust, and I would recommend getting more than one trust and putting your stuff in one trust here, one trust there, one trust here, one trust there. Depending on what you're doing, there's different types of trusts that you should have set up. And FYI, make sure that you don't name your trust after your same legal name. I would come up with something creative, something, I don't know, not registered in the system. If you're going to make it truly private, just saying. Now, can you create a trust or what are these things and register them? Yes. Anytime you create something and register it, you're also then asking for permission and you are exposing it to the public to some degree or to the government. So depending on what you want to do, sit down and realize what you want to do or talk to a qualified professional, figure out how you want to move and then move that way. Now understand, when you talk to some professionals out there, they're not going to have some of this information because it's not within their scope or their jurisdiction. They don't do a lot of these things. Most of them operate in public tools and things inside the system. Once again, the word in. Anytime you see the word in, even though it's a simple little word, it means something is changing. It means you are now being placed within a jurisdiction, in something, to interface, enter. Okay. When you see the word on, like somebody were to ask me, well, are you driving in the state of Florida? No, I'm on Florida state and I'm traveling privately in my personal conveyance because that is foreign talk. And then there's commercial public talk. Okay. All in their books. It's all explained in their books. And if you see the word of, another simple but menacing word. Typically, when you see the word of, it means you're not getting the real thing. What do I mean? Well, if it's a certificate of title, then it's not the real title now, is it? Sure. I see some of you guys, the light bulb has gone on, or is that just a shiny spot on my head? Yeah. See, if it's called a certificate of title, that means you're not getting the title. Otherwise, it would be just called title, the title, right? Oh, go ahead. Think about it. I'll wait. Okay, we're good. So you have to be aware of words. Matter of fact, I've got a book here. Check it out, y'all. The Funk Soul Brother. Check it out, y'all. Now, I don't get any money from this. You can find this on Amazon. But if you do use my Amazon link on my website and then buy this book, I would make about 32 cents. Please buy my book. No, I'm just kidding. It's not my book. Um, but this is Pao Chang's Word Magic, Powers and Occult Definitions of Words. This in conjunction with Black Law's Dictionary. If you buy a Black Law's Dictionary, I think I make $1 if you use my Amazon link on my website. Um, teaches you that there are power behind the words. And then not only is there power behind the words, but there are unique definitions exclusive to public officials on the state level and those who agree to utilize the UCC and that level of jurisdiction. Okay. So now that you know you already are a private person, you now know there's various structures that you can operate and use on a daily basis to make yourself your assets, call it asset protection, money, taxing, et cetera else, private or eliminate. Now remember, when dealing with taxes, they call it, if you're doing it the wrong way, tax evasion. But also what their word is, or technically I guess it's a compound word, is if you're doing it the right way, it's tax avoidance, and there's nothing illegal about it. It's their word. And if you research the laws and you look up a lady by the name of Sherry Peel Jackson, who used to work for the IRS, you'll find out that there is no actual lawful code that says you have to pay it unless you're a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen and you claim yourself to be as such and you're operating your social and business as such. Doesn't make it illegal or fraud. You just have to understand why they're able to tax and who they're able to tax and why it's really a gift to England with the 1040, but we'll leave that alone for now. All right. So if you want to continue to be a private person, then what you would need next is a private name. Understand that James C. Lovett, though it truly by legal definition is my given name when spelled in all lowercase lettering, and it is private, it's natural, it's been tainted. Everywhere they see that, they're just going to say that's you. Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm over 18 in the age of the majority, so I can give myself a new name. I don't have to register it with them. I don't have to get it approved with them. Hell, many people have DBAs or nicknames or a stage name that they go by and they get paid by and whatever else. Some private, some tax exempt, some still yet taxable, depending on how people are moving. So if I were to start using James Charles or James Cash Money, James Catnip, whatever, of the Lovett family, of the Lovett tribe, the tribe of Lovetts, the House of Lovett, the Lovett Nation, any variation of any of those, I've just created a private name. Now, according to the Department of State, if I were to use that name for 5 years straight and start getting mail sent to me that way and have envelopes with dates and times on there, and 5 years later from now, I were to show them that, I can actually change my name on the passport by itself, and they will recognize that. And they will put my now private name onto my passport. Now, some would say, and I'm in the middle of doing this myself, this would effectively be for the first time people out there have separated. So bringing it to you guys here first, the straw man. Because right now, the government level sees your name in all caps, and they don't hold you to that being a straw man. They really see it as you. At least this is what they've told me. This is what I've read in their manuals. But the state level, oh, they definitely look at that as a legal person separate and distinct from you, but they don't want you to know that. Now, I don't know if the government fully knows that themselves, but I do know they watch my videos. So get to going. But remember, the government, they themselves, their hands are tied. How do I know that? Because I heard it from somebody who would prefer to remain anonymous. Um, but we'll just say they're a higher up in certain levels of official business. In that they can't do anything until you guys, the natives, the state citizens, and the general public, U.S. citizens, bring it to them in a lawsuit, a matter, and you show them how they've deprived you of your rights under color of law. So deprivation 18, U.S.C. 241, 242, deprivation of rights and deprivation of rights under color of law. Otherwise, everything else they're doing is just good business. You just didn't know what was going on with the business. So now that you know, you should be able to operate and handle yourself appropriately in commerce. That in itself is not a deprivation of your rights because you've volunteered to do it. But anywhere where they're denying you certain things that are protected by the Constitution, that's good America right there. That right there. Right here, my good people. It's right here. It's right here. A lot of other countries don't have this. So unfortunately, that's why when a lot of people in other countries reach out to me, I can't help you. You guys don't have this. Or do you? Maybe you should start looking at indigenous rights. I mean, my theory at the top would be as if you were physically born in that land, are there old land claims? Are there old parchment for Native Americans? Does that country's probably corporate structure recognize the private? And if not, still yet, do you have private rights there? Some places don't. But if you do, you might want to jump on your good foot, as they say. So now you guys basically know what it is. You now know a lot more than you knew before. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. Look it up. Have you ever wondered why the elite move a certain way? And one of the clips I have on my show was when I talked about, or let me say this correctly, the government brought up about what they're trying to do to Mr. Hunter Biden. Okay. And then in one news clip that I played, they said, due to certain things, we're not able to do certain things to Hunter Biden. And they said, because he is a private citizen and not in official status or in there. I just thought that was an interesting thing that they would go ahead and mention that on TV. Maybe it was a little slip. Nonetheless, it validates everything I've been saying on my channel, is you do have a private side. The private side is the natural, opposite and distinct from the public. Public side is maritime admiralty jurisdiction, and the private natural side is terra firma jurisdiction, meaning opposite, on the land, a real man or woman standing versus a status. There it is. If you understood what I just said in there, you will go far. But if you're just simple and you're not in any problems or trouble, you're good. I'm sure most of you guys have never had any problems with the law or court or tickets, lawsuits or bank accounts, garnishments, judgments, liens. I'm sure you guys have never had any of that, right? So yeah, just go ahead and ignore me. Ignore this channel. Yeah, don't hit the bell or like or subscribe. Just because it's been 30 years of my life learning this, and I'm bringing all this stuff to you in about 1,100 videos. And thousands of people reach out to me monthly and are appreciative and thank me for the files and services. So, which, by the way, if you want more information, go to blacksite32.com. Tons of free files, educational, informational pieces, consultations, questions, resources to help you guys with rent, food, healthcare, vision, dental, all that is information you guys can find on my website because that's what I do. I try to help people. That's it. No big gimmicks or whatever else. I'm not gonna lie. I make a couple bucks off these things, but not a terrible amount of money. Okay. There's actually people out there who use my materials who are making more money than me. One guy even became a millionaire off of my information because you can literally take most of this and spread it out to the world. And all I ask is that, well, if you're a multimillionaire, feel free to send me $1 million. That would be great, as long as it's not going to break you, of course. But it would be nice if you just send a shout out to the Badwolf, James C Lovett on YouTube. That's it, because then more people can learn. And remember, though this information is for everybody, it's not for everybody. Not everybody needs to jump on the bandwagon. Not everybody needs to know their rights or freedoms. Some people like to close the cage themselves. If you're happy in your box and you know it, clap your hands. All right, we ain't gonna get no clapping over here, not for that at least. So that being the case, don't try to convince people of this. if they're not ready and they don't want it. Some people just don't want it, and that's fine. That's their choice. That's why America is so beautiful, is because we have freedom, we have liberty, we have rights, and if we choose to use them or exercise them, we can. But you, as Americans, need to know to stand up and fight for your rights in the right ways, at the right times, and to the right people. Because then you're a non-belligerent, non-combatant. What'd you say? It's almost time for another tea party? Huh. How did the last tea party go? As always, guys, be easy out there. Do not incite anything negative. Hold yourself accountable for your actions. And remember, for the love of God, because on my TikTok channel, I go in on people with their whole emotional imbalances, and it's one thing if it's a medical condition. I'm not against that by any means, and maybe some of this is, but I go into detail on what's going on in the world. I don't use this channel for that. I have that, but I do have the Badwolf Media channel, and I have got another YouTube channel called Badwolf Unlimited. I think there's even one Badwolf Unincorporated. So you'll find me on these various channels, and over there, help me to build those out, and I will keep bringing you guys more fire information. For now, that's it. Take care of yourselves, guys. Enjoy the weekend, and I will talk to you later. Are there more things about going private? Well, to finish up, not really. Once you know what's going on, once you know how to do commerce, once you know how to create new things and move forward, that's it. But can you still do these processes to try to convert your straw man to the private? Yes. Are they going to be ever 100% effective? No, because you will never get your name out of their system. It makes them money. So it's not going to happen. Are some places still yet good to do that? Sure, it doesn't hurt, but move how you want to move, not because somebody on YouTube or on anywhere has told you. And for the love of God, make sure you guys are not getting ripped off by people super exuberant consultational fees and packages and things of that nature. Almost all this information you guys can find for free. Keeping it real. Sorry, not sorry. But if it's valued by you, vet the information, vet the people, and then if you want it, get it. I'm just trying to prevent people from being ripped off. And also, I'd have very little time to chat and emails and whatever else. So understand that it's probably not me. No matter of fact, let me take that back. It's 100% not me out there asking you guys, even though they take my pictures and make their own little, uh, Instagrams and Telegrams and whatever else accounts, they're not me. Okay. I will never ask you for money like in some crypto scheme or whatever else. Matter of fact, if you don't even have $1 million, those are the only people out there who I would say send me $1 million. Okay, so there, I said it. But um, anybody else asking for like crypto or whatever else, it's not me. If you want to know if it's me, go to Black Site 32. All my stuff, services, and products are there, including my real email, my real contact information, my real TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, etc. It's just not going to be me. I might like something, I might comment, but if someone's like, "Oh, hey, send me some money or invest in crypto," it's not me. No, 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 nobody. Scammers do that, guys. So please don't get scammed in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Be careful with all your stuff. Protect you, your mentality, and your heart, and everything else that is you and yours. All right. Uh, Keep light in your soul, and I will talk to you guys later. Bad Wolves out for now.